Rajesh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So good to hear your voice.
Yeah. Should I click on start my video?
Yeah, go ahead and start your video. So we'll bringing you onto the stage now.
Cool. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
Hey.
This is so great.
Ah,
Okay, so Rajesh, we can see you, we can hear you. I'll go ahead and read your bio. And I think we mentioned this, but I'll go ahead and mute so everyone's just seeing you, and I look forward to your talk.
all right.
Okay. So Rajesh has a really incredible bio. An architect, a designer, also a filmmaker, and makes and stars in movies. But specifically, in the bio, Rajesh was an atheist with major Western influences during the earliest part of his life. With life experiences and Guru's guidance, his interest in Vedic spirituality started growing from 2015. Rajesh is a meditation teacher. His teaching is based on Advaita Vedanta, which combines meditation with contemplation on the path of knowledge, Jnana Marg. So Rajesh, if you're ready, we'll go ahead and I'll mute and take it away.
Sure, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to say thanks to Nothing Conference, Noel, Emerson, Harry. They've been great help. They've been the way they have organized this event is amazing. The discipline, communication, fantastic. So great, guys. Well, to start with everything now, because this is everything platform. First, I would like to start with remembering my gurus. So I would like to remember 4 of my gurus, then chant a small mantra, then dive into it right away. All right. So, Naman to Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Naman to Sri Swami Vivekananda. Naman to Maharshi Ramana. Naman to Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. Now salutations and paying respects to my Gurus. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Great. Noel, is the audio good or is it all right? Now, everything is a very heavy word, because when we talk about nothing, of course, one goes on the track of void and emptiness and nothing and nothing. It's kind of lighter. But when we talk about everything, it consists of objects, non-objects, physical things, non-physical things, metaphysical stuff, spirits. So, these things, they comprise of everything, which is a very long list. So when we talk about everything, if you ask any person or a commoner, what is everything for you? What is closest to your heart? What is most important for you? What is everything for you? That person would probably answer saying, my business is everything for me. My properties are everything for me. My cars are everything for me, because he's attached to those possessions. But of course, there is a small section. There's a small section of people. They will say that self-realization is everything for me. Now, I'm going to concentrate more on self-realization today, because for me, self-realization is everything on everything platform. And when we talk about self-realization, self-realization, I'm also going to include two most other supporting factors for self-realization. The first one is non-duality, and the second one, less celebrated though, is meditation. So let's start with a brief and little introduction of Advaita Vedanta. What is the meaning of the word Advaita Vedanta? The word Advaita means the one without a second. So it clearly negates existence of anything that is second. So the omnipotent, all-powerful, the only one is Advaita. Then the second word is Vedanta. What is Vedanta? Vedanta is the end part of Vedas, the four important scriptures of Hinduism, four Vedas. And Vedanta is the end part, the essence of Vedas, the concluding part of Vedas. And it is written in a aphoristic style, because Vedas are written in ancient Sanskrit, and that Sanskrit is very difficult to understand. But the essence of Vedas is available for us in many different languages in translation in aphoristic manner. So anybody with spiritual bent of mind can understand Vedanta. It is also known as Upanishads. Upanishads, the literal meaning of Upanishads is sit down near, meaning sit down near a guru and try to understand. He will interpret it for you in the right manner. So that is Advaita Vedanta. So when you are on the path of self-realization, I would like to say that there are some important stages on that path, or important stops on that path. The first path, the first stop, or the beginning, I would rather say, is Jnana, or Gyan, as we call it here. It is spelled Jnan. That is knowledge, path of knowledge, or Gyan Marg, as we call it here. That is the beginning, because you have to have a lot of knowledge on this subject and then process it further, as advised by our gurus. Then only you reach that final stage. Then second most important part is your gurus. I'm going to go in detail with all these points of Gyan, which is knowledge, guru, then non-duality, then meditation, and finally self-realization. So these are various stops on our path to self-realization. Now let's start with the first stop of Jnana, Jnan, or Jnana as we call it. For the Eastern stream of non-duality, scriptures are very important. Scriptures may not be, or may be important to the Western stream of non-duality, I don't know. But for Eastern stream, or the non-duality philosophy based on Advaita Vedanta, scriptures are very, very important. And scriptures are all written in Sanskrit language. Now that's a big hurdle for a lot of people, including me, because as you introduced me, I was an atheist. I was completely westernized, and I was not aware of the wealth that was available to me in my own culture. But that's another story altogether. Maybe we'll touch upon sometime later. But Coming back to Sanskrit, of course, you cannot speak Sanskrit at this stage. It is a difficult language, and to learn a different language, it's a big effort. So you need to learn at least thousands of Sanskrit words and its real meaning. Because what happens is if you use English words as translations for Sanskrit words, sometimes they really don't work. I'm going to give you an example also for that after this. Like for example, the word dukkha. Dukkha generally explained to us in English language as pain and suffering. But it is much, much, much beyond that. Dukkha is, pain, suffering, grief, sorrow, misery, uncomfortableness, sickness, fear of death, insecurity, so on and so forth. But it is all combined and compressed in one word called dukkha, which is a Sanskrit word. So it is very important to know some basic Sanskrit words and its meaning if you want to take that path. And then, of course, similarly, I'm telling you, because we are on the topic, I would like to say that somebody had told me, a friend of mine who is a Jewish gentleman, he told me that if you want to read Torah, which is their holy book, you have to read it in Hebrew language, because they are so connected that the meaning of Torah is incomplete without understanding Hebrew, without interpreting it in Hebrew. So that's how it is. That is the importance of Sanskrit words and its meaning and understanding and absorbing the meaning in our minds. Then, of course, because if you want to study text and study scripture, it's an ocean out there. And you need to really select, under Guru's guidance, the scriptures which are connected to non-duality. They speak about non-duality. And the three scriptures that are generally advised for the jnani or the seeker who is at an early stage, these three scriptures are, the first one is, of course, Upanishads, that is Vedanta, then Bhagavad Gita. But again, Bhagavad Gita has been interpreted in many ways. You need to read the non-dualistic version of Bhagavad Gita as interpreted by the great Guru, Sri Adi And then the third scripture is Brahma Sutra. That again, as interpreted by Adi Shankaracharya. That is scripture's part. Moving on to the Guru part. Now in Advaita Vedanta, it is very clear that if you don't have a Guru, it is quite likely that you will have the wrong interpretation of the theory aspect of Advaita Vedanta. It is also likely that you will not get the correct meaning of the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta. So in the Eastern stream of non-duality, Guru's role is very, very important, because see, languages are very tricky. You know, the connotation, the tone, the references, the context. If it is not right, the same sentence can be interpreted in a very different manner. But Guru will help you. He will interpret the content in the right manner for you. He will gauge the level of spirituality of his disciple. And based on that, his solution will be different for different people. That is the role of Guru. And he will not let you go astray. He will keep you on the track and he'll help you reach your destination the right way. So, Naman to Gurus. Without Gurus, we wouldn't be anywhere. Then, the non-duality aspect. In non-duality, there are, of course, many gurus of non-duality, but I stick to Adi Shankaracharya, the highest Advaita Vedanta guru of 8th century, because his interpretation is very simple. There are no complications in his understanding and the way he has explained it to us. His interpretation of Advaita Vedanta is based on 5 pillars, as he calls it. The first one is Atman. Second is Brahman. The third one is Maya. Fourth one is Avidya. And fifth one is Moksha. Now let's go one by one and try to understand the meaning of these 5 pillars. Atman, or in the Sanskrit word for this is Atma, is individual consciousness. It is called Chetana, means consciousness. Chetana is the Sanskrit word. You are not your mind. You are not your body. You are not your intellect. You are not your ego. You are Atman, which means you are completely separate from all the pains and sufferings of your body and mind. You are merely consciousness. You are pure awareness. You are just a witness to what is happening to your mind and body. Now, in theory, it sounds so simple and easy, but for a lot of people, it is very difficult to understand. That is Atman, that is the individual consciousness, the first pillar of Advaita Vedanta. Then the second pillar, as described by Adi Shankaracharya, is Brahman. In Sanskrit, it is called Brahm. Brahman is universal consciousness. Brahman is also the formless and nameless God in Hinduism. The highest God in Hinduism is Brahman. But if we stick to only spirituality and philosophy, Brahman is everything. Everything is Brahman, and everything is created by Brahman, and everything is inside Brahman. Brahman is omnipotent, it is all powerful, and it is the one without a second. That is Brahman, the universal consciousness. Brahman has no form, Brahman has no name, Brahman has no attributes, Brahman has no color, Brahman has no shape. And you cannot describe Brahman, but still I'm attempting to describe Brahman. But there is a technique by which you can describe Brahman. It's called neti neti, by which you negate a lot of things, and what remains is Brahman. So when you say it has no name, it has no shape, it has no time, it has no color, it cannot be divided, it cannot be destructed. So what remains is Brahman. Now comes the best part. So there is some fun thing also in Advaita Vedanta. It's not that everything is boring and preachy. So the best part is Atman and Brahman, they are one. That is the beauty of non-duality here. Atman and Brahman, there is no separateness, they are one. So my consciousness and your consciousness and her consciousness and their consciousness, they are one. And it is nothing but the universal consciousness. And it is nothing but the absolute truth. It is nothing but the source. Then we come to an interesting topic called Maya. Maya is illusion. Maya is the world of duality. We all live in the world of duality. We cannot deny the existence of the world of duality. You cannot deny the separateness that my senses experience. In this world, there's another separate world of absolute reality. I'll come to that later. But in Maya is a world of duality. And it is Maya's translation of the word Maya is illusion. And what I see all around me, the world of duality, means the world which is constantly changing, the world which has birth and which has death. It has beginning and it has end, and things are constantly changing. Everything has names, everything has form. So that is the world of Maya. It is a world of separateness and duality. And it is an illusion. So how do we get rid of this illusion? So there's a solution Adi Shankaracharya has given. So Maya has to be seen in context with Brahman and avidya. The fourth point is avidya. Avidya is ignorance. So Maya is the illusion that doesn't allow us to see the Brahman which is inside us while we keep searching for Brahman outside us. And Maya doesn't let us see that because there is a cover of avidya over it. Avidya is ignorance. There is a cover of ignorance, like a small thin layer of dust covering our Brahman, which is not letting us see Maya, the illusion. But once we remove that cover of ignorance from our Brahman with our knowledge of scriptures, Guru's guidance, knowledge of non-duality and meditation, and we look around, we are Brahman, and I look around, and where is Maya? There is no Maya. Maya is gone. That is how it is. So after Maya, you have moksha. That is the final liberation. That happens after self-realization. There are various stages, and you reach to moksha after that. So this is Guru Adi Shankaracharya's interpretation of Advaita Vedanta, which is so simple and so easy for everyone to understand. Now, the question comes that if you call Maya illusion, but I can feel it, I can see it, I can sense it. How do you explain that? For that, in Advaita Vedanta, there are two grades of truth. The lower grade of truth is the world of Maya, where things are constantly changing. There are names and forms. There is birth and there is death. There is pain and there is pleasure. So all this yin and yang. So all these dualities are there. And because right from our childhood, we have been taught in a certain education system, with certain conditioning, with certain training, that we have no choice but to accept the world of Maya and understand only the duality aspect of the world. But the higher grade of truth is the absolute truth, is the world of Brahman, where everything is still and silent. Everything, there is nothing that is changing. There is no death and there is no birth. There is no pain, there is no pleasure. Everything is still and silent. And that is the world of Brahman. That is the absolute reality. That is where we all want to go. That is where we want to rise from the world of Maya, from the world of duality, and go to. So that is our real destination. So that is non-duality aspect of the whole process and self-realization. So we have scriptures, the study of scriptures, under Guru's guidance, understanding of non-duality. And now comes meditation, the less celebrated part, but very important again in the Eastern stream of non-duality, especially the Advaita Vedanta, the Indian non-duality stream. Meditation is very, very important. It is said that meditation literally modifies your mind to receive the knowledge and wisdom of non-duality and literally push you towards self-realization. And it is written in scripture. It It is not just a statement. So when you do meditation, the correct word for meditation in Sanskrit is upasana. Now, upasana is a combination of meditation and contemplation and reflection. But the popular word generally used is meditation. But upasana is the right word, which is a combination of meditation, contemplation. Contemplation is very, very important, because just sitting in one corner silently is not going to help you. You need to, if you are on the path of jnana or wisdom, then you need to really do contemplation and reflection. Excuse me. So when we talk about meditation, I think I got 15 minutes more. Then we jump into the questions and answers. So in that 15 minutes, I would like to cover the 5 steps of meditation that anybody can try, because it is all part of self-realization. Your study of scriptures, Guru's guidance, understanding of non-duality in the correct perspective, and meditation, because meditation is the final stage where it is actually going to mold you to receive all that wisdom the right way and push you towards self-realization. So there are 5 stages from start to beginning for those who want to do meditation, because there are various ways people loosely discuss meditation, but let me tell you, meditation is very, very technical. It is extremely technical, and if you don't do it the right way, probably you are not going to get the entire benefit of meditation. So the first stage for meditation, which is very technical, is preparation for meditation, in which you do some stretching exercises. We prefer Surya Namaskaras here. Based on your body structure, you can do stretching exercises. Why this is important? Because you are going to sit in a straight up, spine erect position. And in that position, your body needs to be ready. Your muscles need to get warmed up to stay in that position for a longer duration. Your spine needs to become supple. It must align with gravity. You must have seen in India, we see a lot of tribals moving around, and they carry the load which is as much as their body weight on their heads, and they walk straight. It is only possible because they align their spine along with gravity. So the center of gravity is not away from the spine. It is closer to the spine. And because of that, the load transfer is so effortless that it is almost like they're not carrying any weight for them. Exactly that should happen. Your muscles should warm up. Your spine should align itself with gravity so that when you sit, it's effortless. There is no stress. There's no anxiety because of your physical posture. If there are efforts, that means you are not still, you are not silent, because you must become still and silent later. If there is stress in your body, it is not working for you. And it is difficult, let me tell you, it is not easy. And it needs a lot of practice, but it's all worth it. Then we go to stage 2, which is again technical, which is called oxygenate your body or oxygenate your blood. Because if you're going to concentrate and sit still and in a certain position, then your blood needs to be oxygenated to help you concentrate. So what we advise generally is you do pranayama. I'm not going to get into the details of pranayama at this stage, but you can check out from various teachers how to do pranayama. That pranayama will help you clear both the channels of your nose and it will help you oxygenate your blood, and it will also kickstart the pineal gland, which is somewhere behind your brain, and it will start secreting some neurochemical. I'm again not going to get into neurochemical theory part of it, but that will start helping you concentrate better. So this is another technical aspect of deep breathing. If you can't do pranayam, you do deep belly breathing. This is very important. If you can't do pranayam, do deep belly breathing. 90% people, they don't breathe correctly. It's a fact. Because right from the childhood, when we are asked to take a deep breath, we tend to swell our chest. No, this is the wrong way of breathing. The correct way of breathing is your belly should go out. When you take a deep breath, the diaphragm should go down and the organ should go out. That is the correct way of breathing. But you take a look at any animal. Take a look at your dog. Take a look at your cat. When they breathe, their belly moves. Nothing else moves. So the correct, but again, we are victim of bad conditioning, bad education, all sorts of nonsense, toxicity coming our way, and doing wrong things thanks to our modern world. But when you do deep breathing, deep belly breathing, you oxygenate your blood, and you are in a great state. Then you chant a mantra. Now this time it is not very technical. When you chant your favorite mantras or the mantras given to your gurus to you, it kind of cleanses your mind. It calms your mind and kind of cleanses your mind from all the negative thoughts. My favorite mantras I'm sharing with you. The first mantra is, of course, Om. That is Om. Then I chant Gayatri mantra. And then I also remember my favorite Ishwaras. And I chant their mantras. And then I say, I'm not this mind. I'm not this body. I'm not this intellect. I'm not this ego. I'm Atman. I'm free. And then I start my dhyan or my meditation. Now, since there's so many things involved here, I forgot to mention how to sit and the sitting position and your spine position. So when you sit for dhyana or meditation, it is known, you should not take any back support. You should be independent of any back support. And you should sit in a cross-legged position if it is possible for you. If it is not possible for you, sit on a chair, but plant your legs firmly on the floor so that your heel is dug into the floor, and the load transfer from your head till your bottom of your spine, it transfers on the chair in a vertical manner. Now comes the meditation part. You can do this type of meditation for 10 minutes or 30 minutes as per your physical and mental ability. So you sit with your spine erect, you close your eyes, and you start watching your breath in the beginning, because meditation or dhyan is nothing but doing one thing consciously. Doing one thing consciously. So when we do one thing consciously, right now I'm watching my breath because I need to empty my mind, which is the most difficult part of meditation. When you empty your mind, it is very difficult. So when you watch your breath, you start concentrating, then you shift your focus in the middle of your forehead, and then you need not watch your breath. The breath becomes shallow, you become still, you are in a silent zone, and there's nothing in your mind, it's emptiness. And you experience that, then you kind of experience some sort of a buzz happening in your forehead, And basically you experience no separation from outside. You are one with everything. So that is meditation for you. And after that, of course, you do contemplation. You sit in one place. Now you don't have to, you can take back rest. You can sit on your bed and contemplate on the subject of Brahman. For that, you can use Upanishads or the Vedanta. Like, for example, you can think of this sentence, Tattvamasi, that you are. Or you can think of the sentence, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. In the correct perspective, you can think of that. And you can think of your life experiences. You can think of Guru's guidance. You can think of scriptures connected to your life experiences. And you stay in the world of Brahman, in the thoughts of Brahman, in the thoughts of non-duality. And that is the end of contemplation, reflection, part of upasana or meditation. Now, all this, the process is going to help you in self-realization, all the points that we discussed. And that is everything. Over to you, Noel.
Thank you, Rajesh. That was great. So we'll go ahead and we've got some Q&A questions. I'll go ahead and read them to you, and then I'll probably just mute again while you're responding. But thank you so much for that. That was wonderful.
Thanks.
Someone says, sinking the mind into the heart is a technique I follow. Can you say something more about that?
Yeah, if it is connected to meditation, sinking your heart. Come again? I would like to listen to this question again.
Yeah, sinking the mind into the heart is a technique I follow. Can you say something more about it?
Fantastic. Meditation is all about doing one thing consciously in that moment. So if you're sinking your mind in your heart, and if it's working for you, fantastic. And in addition to that, I would like to say that you have better control on your mind, which is great, because mind is a friend and an enemy.
Very good. Thank you. So, I think there's always a general curiosity about how you got started. I know that when I read in the bio, it said 2015. Can you talk a little bit more about the beginnings of that curiosity, or how that worked? You've spoken about your gurus, and a little bit more about how that aspect of seeking started, and then what were your next steps that sort of got you on the path, so to speak.
Well, briefly speaking, see, I come from a family my father knows Sanskrit language very well. And though it is not exactly spiritual, but we always had those books and those scriptures and those talks in my family. But I rebelled. I was influenced by the West, and I wanted to do this and that. But later on, as a middle-aged person, I started seeing a lot of futility in the rat races, in the so-called dreams that people want to chase there and stuff like that. So a very funny thing happened, and I must share that with you. I decided to keep 4 cows. And I built a shed a little bit away from my city, and I kept 4 cows. The project failed miserably, but I'll tell you what I gained, because for a city person, I failed completely in that project. I really had to shut it down. But what happened is, since I was serving the cows are very important in our religion. I was serving the cows, and I was getting enough time on the mountain to go and meditate during afternoons. I was completely cut off from the city life, and I was living with cows, and I was getting enough time. The whole afternoons I was getting for my meditation, and my meditation started becoming effective in those mountains, with nature. And that's what I am a firm believer in meditation, because I benefited from meditation. And that's how I started this. My interest in spirituality grew. Then I started reading scriptures. I started reading about gurus, and none of my gurus are alive today. But Nisargadatta Maharaj has said that I was never born and I never died. I really like that spirit, because you really don't have to find a guru who is alive. Because Atman is forever, Brahman is forever. So I chose gurus which I found are best for Advaita Vedanta.
Very good. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. One other thing I find interesting is a lot of times people speaking about, non-duality speakers will talk about a description and not a prescription. And yet I meditate every day in a different style than what you've explained. But I just find it to be such a great way to start fresh with everything and to quiet the mind. For anyone that is that's listening, well, I think there's good information on your profile, but how would you suggest that someone get started in terms of meditation? Contacting you, is there a good resource that you recommend?
Yes. I'm there on Facebook as Rajesh Latkar. I'm there on Instagram, Rajesh Latkar. And I do teach meditation professionally. And of course, as you said, there are various ways to reach Paramatma. We call him Paramatma. Brahman is also Paramatma. There are various ways to reach Paramatma and for self-realization. And they're all respected as long as you reach there. And the entire freedom is there for you, how you want to reach there. And that is the beautiful aspect of Hindu religion, if I can say so.
Thank you. So I just a comment, very engaging presentation, insightful. Thank you. And then a question, how do you connect to a guru when he, I guess, or I would say she, when he is not alive anymore?
Well, there are many books written by those gurus, fortunately. And there are, sometimes when I read Nisargadatta Maharaj, the connection is so strong that it's almost like listening to those words from his voice. That is the kind of connection you develop with your gurus. And that is why the bond is so strong. Because every time he opens his mouth, it makes sense. Every word that comes out from his mouth is loaded with so much of information and knowledge. And best part about especially Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj was he was very intuitive. Like in a split second, he used to fire a word before. And he used to understand where his best part about his was he used to first gauge from where the question is coming. It is not the person that question is from the world of Maya, the world of duality, the world of non-duality. That way he used to slot them, where the question is coming. So a face didn't matter to him. So a lot of such interesting things you learn when you connect with your guru. And believe me, you really don't need that guru to be physically in this world to connect with you. If you want to connect with him, you can connect with him.
Yeah, great point. I mean, people would ask Ramana Maharshi who his guru was, and he would point to the mountain, but he would say, it's anything everywhere. It doesn't need to be a living person. So
since you're on the topic, I would like to say that Ramana Maharshi was a great promoter of self-realization. And he had said that the biggest guru you have is your own Atman. He's the biggest guru. And your external guru comes much later. That is the power of your self-realization. Once the true self. But again, in the modern world, it's all pretty chaotic. There will be many efforts made by the system so that you don't understand, you don't meet your own true self.
Very true. Well, so we'll go ahead and close out here in a second. Any final words? Sure.
No, all the best. And again,
Okay.
looking forward to seeing and listening to more videos on this platform. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. You too. We really appreciate having you here, Rajesh. And there's a directory on the event home base down at the bottom, so people can figure out how to get in touch with you. And we'll go ahead and end the webinar for now. Everybody can go back to home base, and then we will start the live stream again in about 19 minutes.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.